We are live. Good to be here. And I have opened up the curtains to my practice room. If we haven't met yet, I'm Lisa Spector, your piano ninja. And this is my pup, Sundance, by my side, getting ready for an all American program, my annual revival of Gershwin, Rhapsody in Blue. When you join, please put in the chat the music that you're working on. Doesn't need to be American music, could be anything. Would love to know what music you're working on. And I'm not going to talk very much. I'm just mostly going to practice, but I want to tell you just a couple things. One is that always, 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 the first thing I recommend when you start your practicing is to start with something that warms up your heart. But I already did that this morning, and it's only noon here. I did that this morning, and I already warmed up my fingers as well. My fingers are not in the greatest shape. Hi, Adam. So nice to see you. Hi, Sue. So nice to see you. And my fingers aren't, but they are going to get in shape this week. So that is why I'm here. I did this to be as accountable for myself as I am to you. And you are welcome to listen along, and you are welcome to shut off the sound and just co-practice. I know Sue often likes to do that. Adam is working on the Rachmaninoff Second Sonata so that he can perform it here in Monterey, California at the annual Beyond the Keys retreat in September. I'm sure you're going to be able to do that. It's an impressive goal, but I'm sure you've got it. And David is here, and you're working on the Brahms 118, Intermezzo and Ballade, and he's also coming to the retreat and performing. So I am the music I'm going to be playing for this concert on July 4th, 5 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern, around that time. Is Rhapsody in Blue, some other Gershwin arrangements of Rural Wilds, Amy Beach, Dreaming, one or two nocturnes by a fabulous current day composer, Zach Goluboff Davis. So here's my first trick for you. I'm not going to get to all of that today. It's going to be towards the end of the week that I'm going to get to all of it in one practice session. So I'm going to make the most out of about 30 minutes here. And Karen, so nice to see you too. We're just putting in the chat the last piece of music that you worked on. So one of the best pieces of advice, if not the best piece of advice I ever got from a piano teacher, was from John Perry. Rest in peace. He just recently passed away at age 90. But the advice was, don't ever practice in a hurry. So if I put all of my music in front of me and tempted to do it all in 30 minutes, I would be creating poor practice habits, which would take me longer to undo. So always I want to feel like my practice time, even when it's limited, I tell myself it's luxurious, so I'm not rushing through it. If you don't already have my practice, just before I get to my practice, I will just highlight this. My checklist for how to turn 20 minutes into an hour's worth of progress. Probably these are going to be 30 minutes for me this week, and into an hour's worth of progress. You can grab it right there at lisaspector.com/practice. And nice to see you, Jay, who's working a stomp, and Sue is working on the Britain Nocturne. Fabulous. So I'm going to unhighlight that, and I am going to start with Amy Beach. For those of you who joined late, I already warmed up with a piece that warms up my heart, and I also warmed up my fingers a little bit. They're not in the best of shape, I will tell you that right now. So Dreaming is a gorgeous piece by Mrs. H. Beach. It's from her early Opus 15 suite called Sketches. So enjoy, and when I'm practicing something that I feel like would be valuable to you, I'll stop and talk. Otherwise, I won't. Haven't touched this in probably a year. Rhythm is not that it's tricky, it's that it's triplets, and you can get on the other end of the triplet. So I'm just going to count out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm playing the melody but by itself, so I plant that in my ear of how I want it to sound. before I add all the complication of the other notes. So that's the end of the first long invisible phrase. I'm going to go on and see how it sounds all together. Counting, the rhythm starts before I do, so I'm counting in my head. Talk through some of this because I think it'll be valuable. That was fine, but a couple of things didn't feel like they were in my fingers, so I'm going to go back and just want it to be a little more secure. Giving myself a lot of information, even though it's not new. I've played this in the past. It's coming back to me little by little. So I want to really now, before I go on, before I add more information for my brain to remember, which I can't, I want to go back and really clean up some of those parts. My Piano Ninja Tricksters Club members, many are here, know what I'm doing. So I am doing two tricks combined at once, which is cyclical rhythm. Right now I've stopped, but you're going to hear me do this a few times. The music's going to stop, but my rhythm's going to go on. And then the other thing is quick reflex motion. I need to get that jump. I'm going to be able to do it with my eyes closed so that I know what it feels like, so it's really secure. I'm doing here is I'm taking, again, two of these at once. How can I make this easier? There are many, many ways. Two of them are hands separately and smaller sections of repetition. So I'm combining them both so that I remember it when I go to practice tomorrow. I want to give you a real life example. What happens? This is messy, doesn't pass my standards. I mean, it's fine because it's the stage it's at now, but I can clean it up. If I felt like, oh my God, I got to get onto the Gershwin, I got to get onto other things, that's when I would create poor practice habits, and that's what I don't want to do. So for that reason, I'm going to stay with this for as long as it takes me right now to get it clean. Increase the size of the section. The other third way, there are many, but another third way to make things easier is to slow it down. This piece is a little harder for me slower if I slow down the tempo too much. So I'm just slowing it down a little bit. If you come back tomorrow, you're going to hear that piece get better every time I practice it. Want to reiterate, this is not new music to me. This is music I've played a lot, but haven't touched in about a year, maybe longer. And so this is how I bring it back quickly. And yes, through those perky inner voices with the thumbs, it's harder than it sounds. You know, as you play this piece and you're working on the Beethoven Opus 26. Love it. And Karen's working on church music. So if you joining us now, put in the comments, add to the chat what music you're working on. And I'm going to go on to the Rhapsody in Blue. We'll see how much I get to it. I'm not on a time limit today, so I'm going to probably stay on longer. We'll see. And certainly you'll recognize this and you'll hear a difference, let me tell you, between now and when I play on July 4th, I promise. If you have played the Rhapsody in Blue, any version of it, solo or orchestral or band, put in the chat Rhapsody. One thing, this is one of those places where I use the motto. Where's my books? Right here. Give me 1 second. Screw perfect, just make music. My hand can't reach some of those inner notes, so I leave them out. This from my hand accident when I broke my hand in 2017, but I still play it because I'm still out making music. I'm not going to do that part. That's right. Stop for a second to tell you what I'm doing is I'm left hand's starting to get a little fatigued, and my brain's starting to get fatigued. I'm running a little over. But what I'm doing is I'm measuring in my body with a quick reflex motion what that feels like, so that tomorrow and the next day I don't have to think about it, and I can just focus on the right hand. Not quite there, but it is getting there. I'm gonna go on for a little bit. With 3. This is another thing I do all the time when I practice. When there's all these complicated voices, I want to know I want to be able to plant the sound that I want in my ear. So I've done this, so I won't do this here. The first thing I do is whatever ideal fingering is, so that I plant it in my ear how I want it to sound, and layer by layer I add in the difficulty. So the next thing I would do is take just the 5, which is what I need to do when I have all the inner chords. So I want it now to sound the same as if I were using 3, 4, 5, which is the easiest fingering. Now I've got a complicated fingering because of these other notes, but can I make it sound the same? So I'm pretty pleased with that. So now I would add the inner voice, the more difficult. And does it still this? In other words, I don't want it to sound like this. I want it to shape the phrase. And so forth. So I will tell you that, how long did I do? 45 minutes. My brain's fatigued. So I generally take a break after half an hour, at least 2 minutes, walk outside, don't check my phone, do something that just recharges me. So I only left my phone here to tell you what tomorrow's topic is, and I'll get to that in a second. But my brain fatigued about 10 minutes ago, but it was right before I get to the climax of the Rhapsody of Blue, and I didn't want to stop there. So that is my introduction to just day one before I re-prepare this program. I will practice again later today, so I'm not limiting myself to only 30 minutes, but I'm just making the most of the time that I have, and also I am inviting you. Let me write this in. Give me one second. Um, okay. So for those of you here now, this hub isn't done yet, but you can still get in. So if you're in the Piano Ninja Tricksters Club, feel free to join the hub, but you already have today's gift, which is the Piano Ninja mini course that I did live in the club last year. But it's in there. There's a lot to do in the hub still, but the chat, it takes about 24 hours for the chat to go live on YouTube. So I'll have it for everybody else then. And tomorrow I'll be back at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern I'm sure I'll go over Rhapsody. I'm sure I'll go over these pieces again, and then we'll see where I've gotten with my other repertoire. And also, tomorrow I'm going into how to practice your full program. This is one of the most common questions I get. Lisa, I've got a lot of music. I can't get to it every day during my practicing. You don't need to get to it every day. Get to less of it and I'm going to talk about more of that yesterday. David, I'm so glad this was helpful. And Sue just spent the AM doing the 5 pieces in one sitting. I find, and research shows that 30-minute, I know it sounds crazy when these pianists practice 8-10 hours a day, but 30 minutes, research shows that then your brain starts to fatigue. And when your brain starts to fatigue, you start to have poor practices and habits. I'm not saying that you do, Sue, but that's my experience. So if I take a 5-minute break after that 30 minutes, it really helps, and I needed that 10 minutes ago. I'm going to go have lunch, and I'm going to practice a little more this afternoon or tonight. Happy practicing, and let me take that off. Happy practicing. We'll see you tomorrow at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. Sorry for Europe. That one's in the middle of the night. But I will be back at the end of the week at earlier times. Thanks so much. And then I'll also get you the link to join us on July 4th. Don't have that yet, but working on it. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone.